You know, we're gonna pop in. Mondays, y'all know we go hour. We'll get it started. So today's topic, you know, as we spoke about last week, we spoke about purpose in relationship and how it's the lifeline of every relationship. But now we're talking about transparency. So we tend to, you know, first off, we ask everybody when they hear the word transparency and dealing with relationships, what do they think of? And Barry, since you're a panelist, you could
start it off.
You could set it off. Tell us what you think.
Well, thanks for letting me be a part of the discussion. I think as I've really begun to understand it, transparency is really allowing someone to see all of you. Being able to see everything from the good and bad, being open, being vulnerable about not only your successes, but your failures, your fears, your hurts, things that you struggle with. It's really, just like I said, it's opening that door completely and not being afraid to let someone see you and who you really are, not just what you want to present to them, but who you really are.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a start.
Leslie said, I think it's being completely open. She wrote that on the side. What's going on, Amali? How you doing? You on mute.
Yeah, mute.
Jessica said, I think it's being completely open and honest about your authentic self, your intentions for this life and the relationship, which, yes, we agree. We agree that's a portion of transparency. That's definitely a portion. Amali, I don't know if you was here for the beginning.
No, I was having problems getting onto Facebook, getting onto your live from Facebook. So I have to do it on my phone.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
We got to share it on the...
No, I wasn't even when I was on Facebook, I didn't see it come up live on my Facebook feed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's because it's on our it's actually on our page, our business page. But, so we're talking about transparency. So what does transparency mean to you when you think of transparency?
I lost some of the conversation. So could you kind of backtrack a little bit for me?
Oh, we're just talking about the definition. When you hear transparency in regards to relationship, what do you think of? I mean, to get it started, Jasmine said full disclosure of emotions, thoughts without barriers. So she agrees with Jessica and Barry. So what about?
I think in the beginning, when you guys meet each other and sitting down and talking, that you're supposed to be open and honest with everything, so a problem wouldn't arise later down, like, well, you never told me you liked this, or never told me you wanted this, or you never said this is how, you know what I mean? That you guys can actually sit down and compare your notes together and come to a mutual understanding of each other and go forth from there.
Definitely. I mean, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
So anybody else want to answer? Monique? Miss Raven? I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but Miss Raven, I don't want to mess it up. You can write in the comments and we'll read it. And I'll give y'all a little time and then we'll get going with having this discussion from our end. So we want to give y'all time to really put it out there without coaching y'all. Definitely. Brittany's back on. Nadine just came. Okay, so we getting people rolling in now. Okay, since nobody's really commenting on the end, we'll start it off. So transparency. So y'all know in past discussions, we had discussions regarding, we believe in accountable love. So that's, being accountable in love, I guess is self-explanatory, but the principles is honesty, trust, devotion, dedication. And transparency, when people hear transparency, a lot of people think it's just being honest. And honesty is just, it could be a comment, it could be a moment. It's just, being very, very raw in that aspect. Just saying what you think, saying what you believe, and being straight to the point, direct. Now, when it comes to transparency is what builds trust. So it's the bridge between honesty and trust. So honesty starts the dialogue, but transparency gives it clarity. So when you think of being transparent, you're mentioning your intentions. You're having discussions in regards to your intentions. So what is your intentions when you meet me? So let's say you're on a first date and you sit down with somebody and we're all sitting here talking about our intentions and the things why we're here, why we decide to go on this date. And let's say the guy, or the woman, whoever, however you want to look at it, says my intention is just to sleep around. Like, I just want to find somebody that I, can call on when I need something physical, and we go from that route, right? And let's say the man is saying, or the woman, in that regard, who's that? Mahogany, she's a panelist. And let's say the man is like, listen, I want a long-term relationship. So my intentions are, I came to this date, my intentions are to find a partner, a long-term relationship. I want to find somebody that, I can grow old with. So right then and there, they both were transparent, but do you believe they belong in a relationship? And I kick it to Barry.
Well, do you believe they belong in a relationship together?
Together, excuse me.
Yes. So Jessica says, no, keep it moving. But why, elaborate, why should they keep it moving? Let's educate. And Barry, what are your thoughts?
I think that, once again, a lot of people say they want somebody to be transparent, but they actually, when the person is actually transparent with them about what they actually want, they're offended by it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case that you just brought up, the person on either side is telling you exactly what they're looking for. And so they're not trying to lie to you and they're not trying to run game, because I think if they've told you honestly from the get-go that, listen, this is all I'm looking for, you should respect the fact that they were transparent about their intentions towards you. And they gave you a choice in the matter. So they gave you a choice to decide which direction you want to go. And to me, that's respectable. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people will give you some game and tell you what you want to hear, but then their real intentions will come out sooner or later in the duration of the relationship. So.
Yeah, I agree with that, Barry. And I also think that, like you said, there's two people that want two different things. So really, they shouldn't probably date each other. They should just hold off and date a person that wants the same exact thing. So transparency just allows someone to make an informed decision. By you being open and honest about what you truly want, then it allows the person to say, hey, I agree with that, or I disagree with that. You are for me, you may not be for me, but at least you can make a decision that makes sense for you and the other person, for that matter.
Definitely. Oh, what happened to Molly? Yeah, so, I keep, everybody tends, like we were saying, they tend to believe that honesty is synonymous with transparency. And honesty, like the person was honest about wanting to sleep with the person. But that's honesty at that point. You know what I mean? That is their intentions, but it's just being honest. Why do they just want to sleep with the person? So yeah, maybe you don't leave the date at that time because maybe you want to know more about what goes on. Where the transparency starts is having the discussion. We have to have a discussion about what are we going to do? Where are we going forward with this? I actually want a long-term commitment. So I'm going to explain why I want the long-term commitment. You actually just want to sleep with somebody. So why do you just want to sleep with somebody? So you can still engage the person without just walking away, but at the same time, give it some time. That's when transparency starts, not just being honest.
Well, like what Jessica was saying, she said that, people sometimes take that information and then they think they could change the person. But the whole point is to have a conversation with the other person to get a better understanding. It's not for you to say, well, I'm going to change this person's mind, because a lot of times when a person tells you what they want, that's probably what they really want. And so if you can be in the business of trying to change people's mind, but who really, should we really be investing our time into that? You know I personally would want to only be around people that are moving in the same direction as me. I mean, back in the day when I was younger, I wanted the challenge. I don't want a challenge. You know, it's not fun anymore. You know what I mean? So I think that if you are really open about it and you want to hear, so a lot of people say they want to hear honesty, right? But then when they get the truth, they're upset about the truth. So they're like, oh, please, you don't really know what you want. And then they play this game, and at the end, usually those situations don't ever really end well. So it's really important that, yeah, like as you said, have the conversation, so that when you guys both walk away and say, hey, we weren't meant for each other, or we decided not to go past date number one, you guys have a clear understanding as to why. And I think that's really important as well.
But I think what he was saying, though, I think the thing is that we haven't gotten into a place where we can actually have that conversation. And because a lot of people aren't really prepared to date, they're looking for, it's almost like they're going into dating trying to hit a home run. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that's not how relationships work. Relationships are a step-by-step process to, you know, from one step to the next step in unfolding of the relationship. And a lot of people going with a home run mentality, trying to land that one person instead of taking the opportunity to actually discover who that person is, to make sure you make an informed choice about who this person, if you want to be in a long-term relationship. And so, unfortunately, I think it also speaks to the condition of people going into relationships more than it does just the actual being transparent. Because somebody, like I said, someone can tell you, hey, I'm just looking to do this. And you go and you hear that, but you process it differently and go, okay, I hear their heart's been hurt. And so I'm going to try to rescue them. And I'm going to put my Superman or Superwoman cape on, and I'm going to save them from themselves, instead of them actually listening to them. And then you're 6 months down the road and your heart's broken because, like, I thought you wanted. And the person goes, I told you.
I told you I didn't want it. Yeah.
I told you I wasn't looking for a relationship, but you decided that's what you wanted. And you did all this stuff over here, and you gave me all these things thinking that was going to change me. But I've been telling you from the get-go, I wasn't looking for this. And so now you're in this position where you're hurt. You've hurt yourself. You're emotionally hurt because you made a decision, not listening to what that person said, but thinking that you could change this person's mindset about what they think about a relationship or where they're at for as far as their desire for relationships.
Yeah, I agree. And she, on Facebook, she said that she thought that was a great analogy, Barry. And she agreed. She said, thank you for the analogy. But yeah, that is the truth, though. People think that they can go in and, you know, when a person has their heart set on something and they want something, they usually move full steam ahead to get it. And like you said, you know, the signs are there, the answers are there, the person's not changing, but yet they think that they still have a shot to get what they want. So it's really important to be mindful of that.
Yeah, but sometimes they say that, but then their actions are totally different. Because they pretend, some people, not all, I'm not saying all, because I know, for example, a friend of mine, you know, we don't say names here, but she met this person and he told her up front that he doesn't want a relationship and blah, 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 blah. But then he's doing relationship stuff with her. You know, they're going on dates, they're going on vacation, she's meeting his kids, he's meeting her kids, you know, stuff like that. So he tell her he doesn't want a relationship right now, but then doing all this relationship things with her.
I don't consider that relationship stuff. I consider that that's someone that knows how to use. So listen, let's just be transparent.
Okay, let's be transparent.
Okay.
Okay.
We all know that if the end goal is to get what you want, right? You'll use any tip, any trick and tool in the book to get it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the end state. So that I don't call that relationship stuff. I call that, look, yo, if I can get the milk and I got to give a little bit, I'm good. Hey, she, you know, I got to show you kids and stuff like that, be around. That does not mean relationship stuff. Relationship stuff is more about, listen, I'm opening myself up to you so you can see me. I know dudes that use their kids for a hook on multiple times. That is not relationship stuff. And to me, what really makes a relationship is not only the commitment, but it's the actions that come along with it from that commitment. It's the I'm cutting all this. Listen, I've gone from dating multiple people to no, I'm committed to you, and I'm doing the things necessary to build a healthy, lasting relationship. I'm not interested in just hanging out with you and doing stuff that you allow me to do. Because a lot of times people get in relationships and they say, well, I thought you didn't want a relationship, or you didn't want a relationship, but you're letting me do all the stuff without really no accountability. Mm-hmm. You're letting me do this stuff. You let me sleep at your house, stay, do this.
Be with your kids. Yeah.
All this other stuff and no accountability. So I can do it as I want to because you don't hold me accountable. And then you get mad at me when it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work because you already told me what your standards were. You already told me what it is. So what should I commit?
I mean, that makes sense. Go ahead, Mahogany. I see you.
So I'm touching on a little bit of what he said. Is your name Amali?
Amali.
Amali.
Amali, the point is a relationship is a commitment, right? So if a relationship is a commitment, and the contract that the guy you speaking of told your friend was, I'm not looking for a commitment, right? He said, I'm not looking for a commitment. Don't matter what he did.
Yeah.
It don't matter what he did. Nothing matters that's going on after that besides the fact that you have the understanding that we are not in a relationship because he's not interested in a commitment. And that's what a relationship is.
And that's what I told her.
It doesn't matter.
And she's like, well, no, he do this and he do that and do this. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? You crying on my shoulder, and I'm telling you, the man say he doesn't want to be with you like that. So why you keep letting him? I think he's using her, but she doesn't want to listen to me. So I say, you know what? You guys are grown. I don't want to hear it. It's none of my business. Don't call me about it no more because I got tired of listening to it.
Well, Amali,
I think she's gifting herself to him.
Yeah, we gotta stop using the term using. If a person actually extended and explained to them, they were transparent about what they wanted and what they desired. You get what I'm saying? So we gotta stop saying they're using our friend or they're using this person. This is why we talk about equal and healthy relationships, because you should be in a relationship with somebody you deem your equal. So therefore, if I'm able to say, I'm going to say exactly what I want, I'm going to say exactly what I'm expecting from the individual sitting in front of me. And they have to take that in, and I have to take in what they say to me. And we got to find a way to find compromise, right? We got to find a way to make it work. When you say relationship, when you said relationship things, right? Actions. Now let's be clear here. Commitment is words and actions. To make something whole is your word matching your actions. I don't care how many times somebody just does something, because a lot of people say actions speak louder than words. And that's where they go wrong. Because actions without words, like Barry said, you can't hold somebody accountable. Because actions without a promise. You know what I mean? So you need the words to truly have that commitment. But when we're talking about transparency, your friend wasn't transparent with herself.
Yeah.
She wanted a committed relationship. And she actually went on the ride with somebody that wasn't ready for a commitment. So who's using who? You're looking at the fact that she's hurt. Yeah, she's hurt from the ride she decided to go on. She made a conscious decision to go on that ride. And she's using him as well, because she's hoping to trick him into a commitment by doing all these things with her. If she felt those were relationship things, she should have put the brakes on and said, this is something I'm going to hold for somebody who's actually committed to me.
Absolutely.
She kept on going with the flow. So let's be clear here. We're talking about really, really narrowing down things and listening to what people say to you, and listen to the things and the words that bond y'all together. But it's beyond honesty. It's fully understanding why you do what you do and what you're looking for. So she wasn't transparent with herself. And that's where it boils down to. She didn't understand her intentions.
Now, I think she understood her intentions very well, you know what I mean? But she went about it the wrong way. Her intentions was to try to get somebody locked down, you know what I mean? But just like you said, like, you need to find somebody that's on the same page as you if that's your goal. But she knew what her intentions was, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't on the up and up.
That's why I say, sorry.
I don't know if it's just a matter of not her intentions. It's just the fact that, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about it sooner or later, is that a lot of people are using things to build a relationship that can't be built upon. There's blueprints that you got to build a relationship on. You got to build it on trust and absolute commitment and all the other stuff. You can't build it on
I met your mother today.
Things and think that that's going to help be a healthy relationship. It's not going to work. But a lot of people don't know how to build a healthy relationship because they've never been taught how to build a healthy relationship because they never saw one. They saw, this is what they grew up seeing. They grew up seeing their mom or dad do the same stuff. And so guess what? It's just a repeated cycle of everybody doing the same stuff when it comes to building healthy relationships.
When you take a step back, because we hear a lot of people say that, Barry.
Yeah.
I mean, which we agree, but when we step back and look at things, I didn't clearly have a clear understanding of what a healthy relationship looked like. But when I wanted it, I looked for it, I searched for it.
I was gonna say the same
search
thing.
will make a healthy relationship. So when we say, okay, we didn't see this, we didn't see that, we know people that were raised in all kinds of extreme circumstances, right? And still found the way out of those circumstances.
Yeah.
We got to really start looking at what's allowing those people to overcome those circumstances and not allowing other people to overcome those circumstances. And we continuously say, oh, you didn't visually see this situation. But we have so many means, so many things, so many different avenues. And we know when we're hurt, not to go that route. We have survival skills. We have things that allow us to want knowledge and want information. You see what I'm saying? So
no, absolutely. I understand. One of my favorite sayings and something I've tried to live by is that what all I get an understanding. There's a lot of information out there about relationships. There is tons of websites and podcasts and people speaking on how to make a relationship, the 5 steps and the 10 steps to do this. But it's just information until you actually apply it.
Definitely.
And so a lot of people will get a bunch of information, and even in my own case, get a lot of information, but don't actually sit down and say, how does this actually impact me? How does it apply to me? So I can stop using the excuse that I did not see something healthy is actually being accountable. And that goes back to what you were saying before. Transparency to yourself is knowing where you are at yourself. Because there's a lot of people that get up in the morning and look at themselves and tell themselves one thing, but actually are opposite of what they are. And so if you can't even be transparent with yourself, how can you be transparent with somebody else when it comes to a relationship? I have to be able to be transparent with myself. I got to love myself. There's a lot of people that don't love themselves, yet they will go out and try to go find love through somebody else to try to heal and hurt. And the first person that you got to be transparent with is yourself. You got to tell yourself the truth about yourself and deal with your issues and concerns within yourself, so that way you can have a healthy relationship with yourself and then go build a healthy relationship with someone else.
Did you ever hear of mentorship?
Absolutely. I do it on a regular basis.
So, like, again, I mean, I know you're new here, but we're about using your surroundings as a group. Like, love is a group journey. So we're big on outside itself, what is allowing us to flourish. So really, transparency, if you sat in a room by yourself for 10 days, for 50 days, are you truly going to have a full understanding of who you are without other people giving you the other component of who you are? Showing you who you are, explaining to you what you can't see. You get what I'm saying? So love is a group journey. So knowing who you are is about building the right people around you. So yes, you have to have a sense of self where you can introduce the things you want. You gotta look for the people that are gonna help you get what you want and what you need and things of that nature. But if you keep on saying it's gonna be me that does this, it's gonna be me that makes sure I go where I need to go. Name a person who ever was successful by themselves. You don't know not one person. We come into this world and there's a bunch of relationships around us. So when you now cop out, because we hear a lot of people like, I'm working on me, but truly working on you is finding people who are actually going to help you evolve into the best you can be. You get what I'm saying? And yes, of course, you have to first acknowledge it for yourself.
I feel you, but she just said herself that she tried to tell her about the issues and she didn't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is that, yes, you do need the principle of iron sharpening iron, but if you're not in the position to actually hear, if you come to me and tell me, B, man, we got to talk about some of them issues, man, we need to talk, and I won't receive it from you because I won't tell the truth about myself, I won't deal with myself, then there's going to be a challenge no matter what somebody comes into my life and tells me how to be healthy and how to have the things that I want, if I'm not really, really, really ready to deal with myself. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no, that's.
Oh yeah, and
go ahead, Jerry. Sorry.
No, they're saying we agree with that because you need a level. And Aziz and I were just talking about that you need a level of self-awareness so that you can make mindful decisions. You have to know why you do what you do. You have to know why you want what you want. You have to know why you pick who you pick. You have to know why you're around who you're around. Like, yes, in order for you to connect with people, you have to know the whys. And in order to know the whys, you have to be self-aware. So, yes, you're right, there's a level of self-awareness, but a lot of times people believe because when they hear self and they know that they need self-awareness, they isolate themselves around people. They isolate themselves from people because they think that they need that time to kind of be in their own planet to kind of figure things out. But like Aziz said, if you're not around people, how do you truly know who you are? Like, we watch a lot of television shows and we analyze a lot of relationships, and one of the things that come up is you can ask me who I am, but you know who's going to be able to tell who I am? My friends. They should be, if they're writing a character on Jerry, then they're going to get who I think I am, and they're going to go to Aziz and get probably the real who I am, the real person I am, because he sees things in me that I may not see. He sees things that I may not be aware of. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important that when you are doing this self-discovery and trying to find out why you do what you do, you still connect yourself with other people, because then you get the full story. So that's what the self-awareness comes from.
Yes. I mean, somebody else want to talk? Cause
I think it's possible to be self-aware of who you are, you know what I mean, without the input of other people, based on.
Of course you do, Drastic.
Yeah, based on who you want to become. Nah, cause like I can remember, you know what I'm saying, being a teen, being rebellious, you know what I'm saying, running with a crew, and my train of thought during those days was, I'm gonna be tough when I'm with my crew, and I'm gonna be tough when I'm by myself, whether it's one dude or 100 dudes I gotta go against, I'm gonna go against them, you know what I'm saying. So now that I'm walking down a righteous path, you know what I mean, I'm like, it doesn't matter who I'm around, I want to make sure that my character and my integrity is intact. You know what I'm saying? No matter whether I'm around people I know or whether I'm around people I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let me make sure that I'm living the life that I proclaim to live. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm gonna have, I'm not gonna be perfect. I'm gonna make mistakes here and there and stuff like that. But my integrity and goals of who I'm becoming, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna continue walking in that direction. You know what I mean? Regardless of who's around. So yeah, you get that feedback from other people, but I believe that like who you are, you know what I'm saying, a lot of times has some correlation to what type of stuff you're entertaining. Like, what are you watching on TV? What are you listening to? You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. So, you know what I mean? If you're watching Ratchet TV Central every day, all day, that's going to come out in your character. You know what I mean? But if you're making sure to, you know what I'm saying, to read stuff that's going to empower you, read stuff that's going to elevate you and you know, give you things to, you know what I mean, think about, meditate on and move forward in life, you know what I'm saying? That's going to affect your character.
So me and Aziz have this conversation constantly. I think we're all saying the same thing, just saying it differently. So it's not that, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. I believe in self-awareness, figuring out who you are, past all of the wounds and the information that was placed upon you, right? And then you absolutely do still need a village to confirm your findings, right? Mm-hmm. And so what they're saying is you don't you don't have 100% the information until you've done that part, is
Mm-hmm.
what they're saying. And I agree with that. Before we had a tug of war because I thought that they were saying, you don't know you. You can't know you unless But what he's saying is you can know yourself up to a certain degree, but until you test the information that you now feel that you've received, how do you confirm that this is who you are, right? And so I think we're all saying the same thing. We're just saying it a little differently.
I think I can jump on what you said, Mahogany. I think the other thing too is that you have to be willing to be transparent with not take it away from a romantic standpoint. You got to be willing to be transparent with your friends.
Absolutely.
You actually have to let
You're not friends.
Or you're not friends. And I think a lot of times we don't want, the hardest thing for somebody to admit is to actually let somebody see you. And a lot of times what we want confirmation about what we feel, not actual facts about who we are. Because I would rather have friends in my life who are going to tell me the truth, good and bad, about where I really am. And if my actions and my stuff aren't aligned, they have the permission. But I had to go build it. I actually had to go start cultivating the kind of relationships that bring accountability, because in most cases, I had people around me that would just validate what I wanted to believe about myself, not the truth, just where my ego was at. Because my ego was very self-inflated, and I had to have a feeling about myself. And so if you didn't validate my ego, then you wouldn't allow to be close to me. So I had to really, really deal with that piece and started looking at, you know what, hey, you know what, I can't have this because this is not getting me anywhere. I'm not seeing the kind of successes in my relationship or my professional life or anything else, because the people that are around me aren't helping me grow. They're actually just keeping me in the same spot. I'm still 10 years, we've been hanging out for 10 years and we're still in the same spot. There's a problem with that. And so I agree 100% that you do have to be willing to be transparent with not only some romantic interests, because if you can't be transparent with your friends, you're not doing it in a romantic relationship. You're not even going to make the attempt, because a romantic relationship is the closest thing you're going to get, especially if you need marriage. If you're talking about marriage, and then all of a sudden, you want marriage, but you can't be honest with the person because you don't know how to be. And so I think we have to start with our relationships, period. And we have to be willing to say, this is who I am.
The relationship with yourself is first and foremost. Yeah. That's my point, is like the honesty with self allows you to be honest with friends and mates. If you're not honest with yourself, you're not going to be honest with anyone. So you absolutely need to be able to be honest with yourself. Ins, outs, greats, negatives. You need to be able to know exactly who you are in the room.
Well, that's true confidence.
If you are that type of person, though, aren't you by default going to be transparent with everybody, whether they're close or whether they're not close?
That's my point.
I don't think so.
If you are honest with self, who are you not going to be honest with? This honesty and lack of transparency comes from insecurities, comes from you trying to hide pieces of yourself. Once you become one with every piece of yourself, there's nothing nobody can do.
No more to hide. Yep, ain't no more hiding.
You know what I mean? So it's nothing to hide.
But isn't that what our culture does?
Take that one step further. It's like when you don't have a true understanding of self, and you're trying to, like, there's a lot of people that have a clear understanding of who they are. You get what I'm saying? But they refuse to be transparent. Why? Because self-preservation. In this world, where's the benefits of being honest when all the lies get everything they want? Think about it. Like, when you're honest, what do you call? Judgmental? What do you call? Mean? What's the benefits? What's the benefits of being honest in this day and age? So when you look at it, it's like the only benefits is, you're gonna build a strong village. You're gonna have great people around you. You're gonna bust the pipes of whoever don't need to be around you. So we believe that's gonna be the foundation of a healthy relationship. But at the end of the day, when we look at certain things, why, when chaos is what everybody wants, people believe that drama is what allows a relationship to flourish. Drama is what keeps everything new. which keeps everything exciting. Commitment is boring. Like being committed to somebody that actually has ambition and actually wants to be with you for a lifetime, no human being can do that.
Yeah.
It's just madness. So think about it.
Yeah,
We're dealing with transparency. We're giving a lot of people passes because we're saying, listen, a lot of people don't really know who they are. A lot of people know exactly who they are. Their inability to be transparent is because they self-preserve it, because they fit in the society we live in now. So if you think about it, you think about what transparency means, like state your intentions, have a clear understanding of what's going on. When you ask somebody, okay, what's going on with you? What do they say? You're overanalyzing things. We always say anybody that puts over or to, T-O-O, in front of something positive, they're trying to control you. So think about it. How could you overanalyze something by asking a question to fully understand the person standing in front of you? You get what I'm saying? Anybody that's truly invested in you is going to ask questions. They're going to truly try to understand you, truly try to get to know you, truly try to be clear. And I see Drastic, I see you with that puzzle face. So, you know,
I do got a question that your speech prompted. Matter of fact, this question is for everybody here. Because one thing I noticed with these discussions that we have on Mondays is that everybody here seems to be transparent, especially when we having these discussions. Like, I don't know who y'all are when, you know what I'm saying, when the cameras go off, whatever the case may be. But everybody here seems to be honest and transparent, you know what I mean? And my question to everybody is, have you come across people that you were considering bringing as a part of your village or, you know, considering to be close to you that wasn't transparent and honest, you know what I mean? And if you come across those type of people, is that a deal breaker for you, or do you try to, or do you work with them to get them to become more transparent?
I will say, I'll jump on that one. So actually, I'll reverse it. I actually learned that I wasn't very transparent myself.
Okay, Barry.
Found out that there were things about me that I was still embarrassed about in my own personal life, and that I hadn't resolved, and they had been following me for a while. And, you know, when you learn to close off that part of your life and keep it at a, you know, keep them at a distance, you realize that, you know, you found yourself in a place where you just, okay, I've justified it. I started realizing that I didn't have a lot of close relationships because of my inability to be transparent. And I started wondering why I couldn't have the kind of relationships that lasted and that had depth and substance to it. And I kept thinking, well, maybe it was them, but realization was it was me. It was me who had the issue with transparency because, you know, because I'm guarded and because I didn't want to get hurt, because the way I grew up, you didn't really let somebody in, being a Southern and New Yorker. Hey, you like, you ain't trying to, I ain't really trying to see all this pain. I'm not really trying to let you see me because I don't think you can handle it. That's just my personal thing. I just didn't think you can handle it. So it was safer for me. But knowing that about myself, I started realizing I have to adapt. And the moment I changed that philosophy and started really being transparent about who I was and my shortcomings and feelings and the things that I was struggling with, I started seeing people come into my life, just automatically, just come in my life. And I started realizing that the key to those successful relationships and having that growth was me starting to be transparent. Nobody won't come. If you're transparent, no one that can't be transparent won't come in your life, because there's no way they can survive in that realm. I just don't think they can.
Anybody else want to touch on that? Mahogany, you on mute. Go ahead.
Drastic, what was that question again?
Yeah, the question basically was, like, when you come across other people, you know what I'm saying, that you're considering as, you know, like maybe you're vetting somebody, oh, you might be a good friend for me, or we might have a closer relationship, you know what I'm saying, let's see where this goes as we get to know each other. When you come across those type of people and they're not as transparent as you, do you consider that to be a deal breaker, or do you try to pull the transparency out of them?
I have had those situations, and I have a strict guide, right? So I don't think that you just automatically give up on somebody because I wasn't always who I am right now. However, if this person is not doing the work to be all of these things, then that's the deal breaker automatically, right? But until they get to that place, they can't be a part of the village because the village is already there.
Okay.
I would say.
Well, with me, same thing.
Go ahead. Go ahead, April.
Same thing with me. I would give people chances because of where I come from, but you know, in the last couple of months, if I meet somebody, which I have, and within 5 days, when I start to see that they're not, you know, I let it go. But the thing about it is that I don't want people to be like, oh my God, what do you think? You're perfect. I don't want to hear that anymore. So this is what I do now to avoid that is I give them the opportunity to just be honest. If you're messy, that's cool for me, as long as you're honest about your messiness. If you come in trying to portray to be somebody that you're not, then I eliminate you immediately.
Makes sense.
So my clear answer, Jerry, you want to answer first?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that I'm a natural teacher. So if I meet a guy or a female, say friend, boyfriend, meet a friend or somebody that I'm attracted to and like potentially interested in, I lead by example. So I'm already transparent, right? So I'm looking for a person that is also transparent. But like Mahogany said, I would try to, if they are not transparent, I'll try to figure out why they are not transparent. And if it's because they're hurt, they have been hurt in the past and so on and so forth, I don't necessarily leave them in the dust, but at the same time, like that would determine how close we can get within the relationship, like how close of a friend we could be. I probably wouldn't date them until they at the level of transparency that I'm at. So it's not, I don't go and saying, you know, I meet you like, hey, my name is Jerry. You're like, hey, I'm so-and-so. And they're not transparent. I'm like, I'm out. You know, we'll have the discussion. I'll get an understanding as to why they are where they are at. And like I said, I wasn't always there. I was kind of like where Barry was. I kept a lot to myself. So I had to learn over years as I matured, as I became a little bit more confident to share certain things with people. And I started to be, and like Barry said, you start to open doors and you start to foster relationships with people that you probably would have never fostered relationships with. So I get it, but I don't want to be in that space where I'm giving someone a lot of time just because I was there, because I'm over here now. You know what I mean? So I want people to meet me where I'm at. And in order to do that, I have to set that standard as well. I could teach you from afar. So like I said, so to answer your question, Jostic, is not a total deal breaker, but depending on where the person is and their stages of transparency will determine how far we can go with the relationship.
If I could say,
before I start,
yeah.
Nadine and Monique, y'all will have to cut on y'all videos so we can actually see y'all and y'all can engage in the discussion. There you go.
If I could throw something out there too, like she said, I think the other thing too that we talk about is that when you're not transparent, because being in a relationship is accountability too, because your decisions affect me, whether you believe it or not, whether it's a romantic relationship or is this a friendship. And so I need to be able to trust the fact that you are, because you know, we're friends and people know that we're friends. That means they connect us, and that means they say that we're in a crew or something. And so if you're not transparent enough to know that I can trust you with your decisions and I can trust you with the things that you're doing and stuff like that, it's not going to really build a healthy relationship, period. And so transparency isn't just about telling the truth. It's a level of accountability that comes along with that transparency. It's a trust that we both have with each other, but it's also a trust that you're going to represent yourself in a way that also is not going to endanger me or put me in a position where I'm got to compromise something that's important to me. And so I don't think it's like drastic. I don't think it's possible to bring somebody in your crew if they're not willing to engage at that level of transparency and accountability to you in a relationship, because they could expose. I mean, let's just be honest. I've had friends who put me in situations where they've exposed me in my career, and that's my livelihood. You're not going to endanger me in my career because you're not transparent about yourself and what you're doing. We're not going there. And so there's a level of accountability that has to come along with this transparency.
All right, so Drastic, to answer your question on my end, we're talking about personal relationships. So we have to be clear on what we're talking about. Personal relationships is I call you my friend or I call you my partner, who's also supposed to be my friend. So leaving them behind, I might give them words of wisdom. I might assist them when I have the time to assist them, but they won't be a part of my circle. Transparency is a non-negotiable. And when you know what you want, like we talk about all the time, you don't settle for less than that. So you can call me whatever you want to call me. Like April was saying, I'm perfect. No, I have a standard of excellence. A students aren't perfect, but they got a standard of excellence. And everybody around A students feel less.
Yeah.
Until you strive to be that A student. Well, in life, when it comes to relationships, that's everything to me. So I'm like, I got to protect not just me, I got to protect everybody I promise to be in a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about friendships, there's no commitment ever happening. Now, when we're talking about mentorship, it's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
I give my time, I mentor you from afar, but you're not gonna, like, when it comes to like being transparent about my personal life, being transparent about building a closeness, that's something I'm gonna hold for my friends. You get what I'm saying? That's something I'm gonna hold for my partner. But I'm gonna be clear that I'm open to actually have a relationship with you. I'm just not hoping to have a relationship with you if you're not gonna be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a whole team that I gotta look out for, not just myself. No matter how much I want it, it doesn't make a difference. Love is a group journey. If I bring a virus in, it destroys everything.
That's a fact.
So I'm making sure.
Wow, I'm glad you said it like that. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But Nadine and Monique, welcome. Glad to see y'all faces. Do y'all want to, add in on it?
I could say that I've been on both sides because I've been through a lot of things in life that made me not want to be transparent. And I had a problem with trusting, even when there was, people that had good intent. I wasn't ready to be transparent with myself. So I agree with what you're saying, Barry. And a lot of times I was the taker and I wasn't giving because I was saying that, oh, I'm going to get hurt. So I'm just going, receive, and I'm not going to give too much out just in case I'm going to be the one that's going to end up, being hurt. And I did, and it took me a long time that I was the one hurting. The same thing that I was being afraid of happening, I was also doing that. So it took me, some time to say, everybody is not like that. Like sometimes you meet people and you think it's too good to be true. And you're like, okay, they're too good to be true. And if it's too good to be true, it's not real. And I would tell myself that it's not real, so I could pull myself back, so I didn't have to be transparent. And I was a mother early, so I was like a statistic. So there was a lot of things that I was put into categories, and it even though I walked around with a smile on my face and doing things, it still on the inside broke me down because I'm like, I'm seen as this, I'm seen as, that, I'm seen as I'm not going to be able to go far because I done ruined my life early. So the struggle and the journey of being a single parent and the way people viewed me from the outside, I just beat myself up a lot about it. And I couldn't allow for myself to be transparent, even if people were trying to help me, because I wasn't trying to really tell my business. You know what I mean? I was trying to get the information to help me be a better person. But on the inside, I wasn't able to say, listen, I'm broken down. Anything that was real about who I was. I only let people see the surface of Monique because.
So what? Go ahead. No, I was gonna. I thought you paused. Go ahead.
So I once I really started working on myself and saying that you can keep saying you're tired. You can keep saying you're tired. And my pop used to say, you're not tired because tired people do something about it. I hate when people say they're tired because when tired people, if you're tired, you're going to do something. So if you're still doing the same thing, then you're not tired. And that's what he used to tell me, up until he passed away. I hear that every day and then people still do the same thing. So it took for me to go through a lot of things and to search myself and say, are you holding your own self back from having a circle and a crew? Like, what part aren't you playing? And the part that I wasn't playing was being transparent. I didn't want anybody to know whether this was my last dollar, or I would still go out even though I know that I got bills to pay, and I would just figure it out along the way because I didn't want to have to tell somebody I don't got it to go out, because I didn't want to be looked at like, dang, she don't have it. So it wasn't until, like I said, I changed my way of thinking about myself and really kept it real with myself, that I opened up. And I have, I'm a part of an organization called Harambe, but getting involved with this organization, I found real friends. Like, they're my real, closer to me than my family, from being transparent. And it was like a gift that God brought us all together, because once we all really seen that we were all mirroring, it was a mirror of who we were. We all started, this is where I'm at, this is where I came from. And we all, broke down and started really being honest and coming to the table with truth. And now I have like 5 of the best people in my crew, like in my circle, for anything, for kids, it's just not, you can say I'm broke, I just don't got it. And you don't have to worry about it being so. To answer your question, Drastic, I don't think, just like everyone else say, because I was on that end, I wouldn't just say that's a deal breaker, because I know what it took for me to get there. But as far as bringing you really in my fold, the same way I realize now that I shouldn't have been brought into, folds that were trying to bring me in because I wasn't being transparent. I'm the same way now. I can help you, I can talk to you, but as far as you coming on Fridays, we have our get-togethers and our wind down and talk about things. There will be no invites, for those type of conversations. It's going to be limited. So it's not a real deal breaker, but you're not going to come and know, like Aziz said, you won't know my personal business, or you won't get inside, but yeah.
That makes sense.
Go ahead, Jerry.
So I wanted to, thanks a lot, Monique. I was going to ask a question that you eventually answered anyway, but I think it's good for our viewers to hear that. But another thing that, I wanted to touch on is when we talk about transparency, right? We always talk about like the negatives about what we may bring to the table, or the things that we are embarrassed about sharing. But transparency is not all negative stuff. It's not all things that you're not proud of. Like, are we connecting on the positives? It's easy for me to connect with another woman or another man who has been hurt. And like, say our past pain is, let's go with this one. It's easy. Like, our past pain is dysfunctional, dysfunctional households, right? Like, I was raised in a dysfunctional household. So I meet a guy who says he also was raised in a dysfunctional household. Like, word, you understand my pain, I understand your pain. My mom was on crack, your mom was on crack. We are, that there's some type of connection there. And then you connect on the negativity, and then before you know it, you realize that you don't really have a solid foundation to keep the relationship afloat, because what you really connected on wasn't really healthy, right? Yeah. You can say, like, it's all relatable when we say, yeah, I was raised in the hood and I understand certain things, right? We get that. But it's one thing to acknowledge that, but is that who you truly are, right? Is that what's gonna help us in this, have a healthy relationship? Probably not. So we need to connect on something a little bit more solid. So I want to hear from everyone that's on the panelists and everyone on the side on Facebook. We often connect on the negative things, like a transparency about your shortcomings or your insecurities, but what about the positives? Are we connecting enough on the positives?
Definitely. I agree with what Jerry was saying.
That's the only way I connect now, on the positive.
Just like what April was saying. Like, we, in this day and age, it's so easy to be transparent about the negative.
Yeah.
So easy, because now nobody wants to seem like they're being judgmental. Nobody wants to see like they lack compassion. Nobody wants to see like they're the bad guy. You know what I mean? Because it's not, I guess it's not fair to others. You know what I mean? It's like our turn. All the people that held in all their emotions, it's our turn to shine. You know what I mean? We've been listening to all the people who are in that high standard. Now it's our time to shine. You know what I mean? So what Jerry was saying, I agree. Like, that's the roadmap. Like, are we connecting on things that's going to allow us to build healthy relationships? Or are we connecting on having a common enemy?
Or past pain, yeah.
Having that common enemy. My mother never was home. My father never was doing this. When my mother and father fought, they fought all the time. Are we really asking our fathers and our parents and our friends and everything, why is this all occurring? What happened? Are we getting full stories? Are we trying to be the solution? That's what the difference is.
Yeah. I think the term is trauma bonded. So a lot of people have a lot of relationships that are based on their traumas. And so they bond over the traumas, not the positive stuff. I think the challenge has always been is that, once again, it's being able to share in those like dreams and share with somebody. Because like I said, there's two sides, there's two sides. There's the parts of the pain, my pain, but there's parts of the dreams that you don't really want to share with people. And I'm not talking about the little small dreams. I'm talking about the stuff that you don't tell nobody. Like, I really hope that I get this opportunity to do this, or I've been dreaming about this for a long time and I really, really want to do that. And then especially when you begin to share that with somebody, because once again, dreams are those things that you hold secure to your chest, and it's hard to share those things with somebody because, we've all made at least, okay, I'm gonna say for me, there's been past where I've shared a dream about with something I wanted to do with somebody who I thought was close, and they end up ridiculing it. And so that just made me, you know what, I don't think I want to share it again. And so you just draw it closer. But I think, like you said, just being able to share in those positive experiences, but also sharing what people are, as they're self-discovering about the things that they're beginning to like and love and things that they enjoy and the passions and all the other things, and begin to connect over those things, you will find yourself really talking less about your traumas and more about those amazing things that you get to know about someone, like, or the passions that you didn't even really know they actually had because they never really talked about it. And so I think that's an important thing to actually do, is to talk about the positive and connect to those positive opportunities. Not just tell me about what your day is. What did you learn today? Or what did you discover? Or what is it that I've been hearing you talk about this dream. You never really shared this dream, but tell me about it. I want to hear about it. I want to hear. Tell me what your dreams are. So,
well, we encourage, in my circle, like I said, I'm part of an organization, and it's more than just the 5. But there is 5 of us that, like I said, that we all still deal with one another and still have our team outside of our organization. But we always input, like we've been doing rallies for Black Lives Matter. There's been a lot of shootings in our neighborhood, so we're putting on this Thursday, we're putting on a Stop the Violence, because if we want to hold the police accountable for, killing unarmed Black and brown, we still want to put out that same message that we are not going to stand for violence in our community. So we can't ask for the police to be accountable without asking for the people in our community to be accountable. But all the while, during these conversations and different meetings, when we sit in and, they're talking about solutions, it's always, okay, well, one of my friends, one of our members, she just graduated from college with a 3.9. She's a social worker. She would be good for the job. We make sure that we're bringing positive, and what we're bringing to the group is not negative. And even if we have days where we're feeling down, like Aziz said, if it's going to hurt the group as a whole, somebody will say, okay, well, listen, let's back up. We let you vent and see what you got to say, but this can't be how the day is going to end. Let's make sure we try to find a solution or figure out why you started your day negative and now it's 8 o'clock at night and we talking to you and you still talking on a negative. Let's discuss why you still here in this frame. So it is important to have the right people around you that won't let you slide back and won't let you stay in, a slide, even when you're having a bad day. Okay, you can have your moment, you can have your day, but what's the solution? What are you going to do to try not to wake up like this tomorrow or go through a whole day like this again tomorrow?
Definitely. That's a key point. I think when it comes to like, what is the solution? What's actually going to allow us to be together? What's the common ground? You know what I mean? So when we're talking about transparency, like we said, it's the super glue. So it's something that obviously we need to build trust. It's something that we obviously need to actually start on the road to a healthy relationship. But you need to really understand, what does it take to get to transparency? What does it take to have that trust? What does it take to build honesty? Why are we devoted? What does it take to actually be dedicated? You know what I mean? And I think we do a lot, like, you know, when we talk to Drastic, we always tease him because he's Mr. Loner. So he's like, yo, I do think that we could do things by ourselves.
By ourselves, yeah.
we always teasing him, but when it all boils down to it, we're not saying that you can't dream alone. You can't have a dream, but you have to put it out there to see if it actually works. It's called experiment. And the experiment, you have to understand if it works. You can't just have the idea. You have to see if the idea works. And then see.
And I actually agree with you too.
You have to connect with other people to do so. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I actually agree with you too, but I believe that there's a time and a place for that, though. You know what I mean? Like I like the question that Jerry brought up, because this is gonna tie right back into what you just said. Like me personally, I've trauma bonded plenty of times in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a part of this quote unquote hookup culture. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody just get together so that they can, you know, get physical with a partner, and then you see if the relationship's gonna work. So you turn a one night stand into a 3-4 year relationship, you know. And I've had relationships where it reminds me of the picture that Love is a Group Journey put out the other day, a picture of Jerry, and y'all was like, I think the quote was, why are you defensive around your partner as if they're gonna, you know, as if they might cause you harm? And like my response,
your ally, not your enemy.
Yeah. My response to that is like, yo, all of us have been in relationships where that person will cause you harm. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You've been transparent with your partner. You're sharing deep, intimate parts about yourself with them, and then they throw that in your face when you get into an argument. You know what I'm saying? Like you shared something with them in confidence, and then they using it as a weapon against you when y'all have a disagreement that has nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But now it comes full circle around, because I believe during those times it's like, you know what I mean, you're connecting with people based on similar traumas or based on similar experiences, where the goal is supposed to, in order to have a healthy relationship, you need to be a healthy individual that gets together with another healthy individual. You know what I'm saying? So like the purpose of self-discovery, of the isolation, is to make sure that you become the best version of yourself, mind, body, and soul. You know what I'm saying? Get your mind right, get your soul right, get your body right, you know what I'm saying? And then meet a like-minded individual that's going down the same path as you. You know what I mean? After you're already in motion, getting those things accomplished, you know?
How long do you think it takes to change?
Well, I guess psychologists or I don't know who. Somebody said it takes 21 days to make or break a habit, I guess.
Okay,
so,
to make a habit, how long do you think it takes to change? That's true. It takes 6 weeks to build a habit. How long does it take to change?
You could change in an instant. You know what I'm saying? Change comes from, you know what I'm saying, changing your mind. The Bible uses the word repent. You know what I'm saying? So change can happen in an instant.
Okay, so if you know change happens in an instant, what's the isolation for? You wake up one day and you're like, yo, I'm not really rocking with this no more. The only reason you stay around or you stay in long-term relationships is because you're unsure about leaving. It's not because you're scared of change. It's not because you don't know that change exists. It's because you're not ready to change. But as soon as you're ready to change, you make that change. And you wake up that morning and you start discussing with all the people about the changes you want to make. And you're looking at them in the face and you're like, who's coming with me? Whoever's not coming with you, you're walking. So that's where we're all scared in relationships, because we know relationships are fragile. We know we're dealing with another person, another human being with a separate mind. And the only thing that allows us to feel comfort and feel some security is the fact that we know that they're going to come to us with transparency. The only reason we know that there's comfort is because we know they're as dedicated as we are. They're as devoted as we are. When they're missing those components, then what happens? The relationship becomes fractured, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about it. Yeah, we all have been in all kinds of situations, right? We all on the panel can say we all have been betrayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We all have been hurt, right? Why did certain people keep their faith and other ones gave it up? I've been hurt, I mean, greatly. But my faith never wavered. I just got rid of the individual.
I will say this, and this is my personal belief, is that, so I've been on both sides. I think I've been the betrayer and I've done the betraying. And what I've always noticed is that it's the ego that generally gets in the way of people not really wanting to change, because change is like, once again, regardless of whether they change or they want to stay there, it's you that's got to make the change, because there's nobody. Everybody has a potential to change. It's just changing because you need to change. But a lot of people are so afraid because of past issues and everything else that they're afraid that this person's change isn't really legitimate. And so they get stuck in that same story. They run or everything else. And the truth of the matter is that, you know, people can change, and change is a decision that you can make just as much as you can make a decision to portray someone. You just gotta want to change, and you gotta really, really want to change. Period.
Anybody else want to comment on that? What about you, Nadine?
I think she's frozen.
Meditate. You on mute. There you go. Oh, we still can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you.
I think so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
How about now?
Yeah,
We can hear you.
No?
No, we could.
We can hear you.
Yeah?
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, we can't hear you anymore.
And she's on mute now. But while she gets herself together,
How about now?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you won.
Okay, I can't hear you guys. I don't know what I did to my phone. I agree with everything that the panel was saying tonight. I have been the one who thought that they could change someone when they were told that they didn't want the relationship. And I have been the one who has got into a relationship because we connected from trauma. And I spent 12 years in that relationship. And I also agree with the young lady that said her father told her, listen, when you get up, when you ready to change, you'll change. Like, you're not tired yet. That is so true. So right now I'm in I'll call it my first stage of change, growth, trying to find my way. I just haven't found friends around me to bring around me, so they're gonna call me on my junk, because I know I have a lot of junk with me. I'm not comfortable with giving away pieces of me because people have thrown it back in my face, or it just seems to me when you give people pieces of you and they're not the right people, I've been hurt in the past. So I agree with everything you guys are saying. I just need to find the right like-minded people to make me better and stronger. And I refuse to just do what I've been doing all my life. So I believe everything you guys are saying. It's like, wow. It's wow. It sends shivers up my body that each of you guys, it's like you said something that related just to me. So no, I'm just a learner. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm a learner. Okay. You guys I can't hear you.
Yeah, let me come.
So I'm gonna try to go over here and hook you up to something else.
Okay. So it's the second time we heard they throwing
The third.
Yeah, the third time, excuse me, they heard they throwing it in our face. If you truly being transparent and it's truly who you are, then I mean, I understand you feel that they fighting unfairly, but at the end of the day, we are big on telling people your honesty is not a privilege. It's a necessity. If you want a healthy relationship, you have to be honest. So don't think you're doing anybody a favor by being honest. You're doing yourself a favor by giving yourself the best chance at a healthy relationship. Anybody that's going to use your honesty against you, or anybody that's going to use your transparency against you, that shows character within them. Absolutely. And you need to find a way to exit. But at the end of the day, the fact that you're fearful of being honest or transparent because you're fearful of more people knowing your business, you haven't truly come to grips with who you are. Because if you walk down the street and that's who you are, you live it. You live the life. Regardless of what you did in life, you let it be known, you know? So
I can't speak for nobody else, but that's who I've been. You know what I'm saying? And you preaching to the choir right now. Like, yo, as far as I'm concerned, if somebody gonna throw my transparency against me, they not the right person for my transparency. But I'ma still be honest. I'ma still be me regardless. You know what I'm saying? That's who I've been. That's who I'm gonna be now. That's how I'll be in the future. Honest and transparent. You know.
I'm going to take it one step further, and this is I can't speak for anybody else. This is just my own personal journey. Is that I believe that because I grow to be someone who is not only authentic and transparent, is that because I can be transparent, I can also be loving. And if someone rewards my love and transparency with throwing it back in my face and everything else, like I said, that's their character. But I also believe that love and transparency can also be a powerful healing process for someone else. Because when they see you, it's easy to respond to somebody when they come at you or try to throw you up under the bus or anything else. But it's amazing what love can really actually do to somebody. It can be transformative. And I think a lot of times we forgot that the greatest thing that ever transformed somebody was love. So that's just my 2 cents on it. So for me, like you said, I need to be transparent because that's just me. I can't. It's not about anybody else. It's just for me. I have to be able to live and sleep and go to bed at night with myself. And if I can do that for myself, then regardless of how you are, that's not going to change me. But I have to be authentic and transparent and loving with me because that's where I need to be at. But I'm going to always be loving and transparent and vulnerable with you, regardless of that. It may be in stages and levels, but that's still where I've got to be at. That's who I am.
Yeah, because it's a belief. When it's a belief, it transfers over everywhere, and you don't allow anyone to strip you away from that. If you are worse off, or if you have to be out of character with someone just to maintain the relationship, then it's not a healthy relationship. You should be able to be yourself. You should be able to not have to hold back. You should be able to not have to watch your back, because if you have to think about all those things, then it's probably not going down the right path anyway.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying that you meet somebody and you're like, well, I'm pretty much open book in the beginning. But the point is, like, you're not out there giving out your social security number and your house keys, right? But you are putting out, you are setting the stage, and you are letting the person know that I'm here to truly get to know you. And in order for you to truly get to know me, this is all of me, and this is who I am. So I think that, that's really important to understand that when you are connecting with people as well.
Yeah, Barry, and to add on to what you're saying, when you say, as long as I can sleep at night, the reason most people have the issue is because they actually allowed this person in their life. So it is them they're looking at. It is the fact that who am I to actually, when they're sitting in front of somebody that's doing that to them, they like, damn, there's something that might be wrong with me because I let this person actually in my life. I let this pretend in my life. I let this lie in my life. So we do internalize it because we did open up the door. We did let the person in. So that's why we're big on saying, make sure you're comfortable with who you let in. Make sure you truly believe who you let in. But the only way you're truly going to understand who you let in is if you're fully transparent, because I guarantee it will scare the wrong people off. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if you get in and you're in a relationship with somebody for 5 years, and out of nowhere they throw something in your face, 9 times out of 10 you wasn't as raw as you needed to be all the time. You wasn't as direct, because there's no way it lasts 5 years. Like, I'm trust the person. Like, I got the opposite story. I am very raw. I'm not even say raw, very direct and very straightforward my whole life. To the point when I was young, people used to have to explain to me why it's not okay to walk down the street and just say things to people. You know what I mean? So I know the opposite of it, meaning I had to now tape it down and understand that I'm invading people's space. You get what I'm saying? So you have to understand, like, I kept real good people around me, and everybody knew there was a standard. They always was hearing something transparent from me. My thing is, am I getting it back in return? You get what I'm saying? So it does, I don't care who you are, it does reflect on you. So there's no you without us. So understand that. You should be around people that, and you wasn't here for last week's discussion about purpose, but you should always be around people that share the same purpose. So then, therefore, you they take care of you at all times. So you should never talk about me, because we all talking about we on here. You get what I'm saying? Not just your faith, it's our faith. They betrayed our faith, not just you. They betrayed our faith. And when we look at things as a unit, we start looking at things a lot different. When we understand everything we do affects other people, we start looking at things different. You get what I'm saying? So transparency is not something we have to believe. It's something that you believe other people that share a relationship with has to believe in. You get what I'm saying?
That's the most powerful statement I've heard in a minute. Not because it's not, not for any other reason, but it's the fact that it's we. My transparency impacts you. It impacts your ability to see me. It impacts your ability to understand me, to support me, to pray for me, to whatever it is that our relationship requires of us. But it also doesn't allow me to make choices for myself in how we go. And so it's bigger than just me. It's we. We have to be transparent, not just because for any other reasons other than the fact that it's vital to any relationship that is going to be successful. Why? Because you know the deal when it comes to not being transparent and being 4 or 5 years down the road and something coming up, it's in most cases damn near detrimental to the relationship. Can it be rebuilt? Yes, but do you want to go through that arduous work of rebuilding 5 years worth of time? A lot of people don't want to do that. And so it's just better to be transparent from the get-go and not have to worry about that, and just do it from the get-go. Make it a lifestyle, not just a good ideal, but this is who I am personally, period.
Welcome to the lifestyle of LoveSnobs, man. All we think about is we. So welcome. So now when you think about we, me, you know that that's like a curse to us. Because we're talking about personal relationships. And if you're still in a personal relationship, always thinking about it's self-preservation. You're not building anything. But if you're thinking about how could we get stronger, now you're ready to start the discussion. You're past your developmental years. You spend your developmental years figuring out who you are. A lot of people lose track of that. You know, like Monique said, I had kids early. So maybe she didn't have a chance to fully say, okay, what was I doing to work on me? So she spent a lot of time as she got older trying to figure things out, right? And now she's in relationships where they're past relationships when she wasn't trying to figure things out. So now she got to look at those people and say, damn, y'all kind of was with me when I wasn't the best I can be. But now I'm trying to be the best I can be. So now she got to make tough choices. You see what I'm saying? So we all understand, don't get me wrong, when we're saying these things, we understand people develop in different ways, but we stick to the healthy portion of it because we want people to see that everybody's capable of health. And if you don't know that, you're never going to get healthy. If you don't believe you're worth a healthy relationship, you're never going to seek healthy relationships. If you're more worried about being called judgmental or being called perfect, then you are going to step back and you are going to be around people who are not striving for the same things you're striving for because you let them guilt you into coming up short. But if you're now, listen, I'm walking uphill and I'm not looking back. So whoever wants to walk up that hill with me, they got to catch up running. And if you get to me and you're too tired, I'm not waiting. So when we started up the hill together, we was walking. There's no reason that I'm getting up the hill nonstop with my feet hurting, killing me.
You can.
And in reverse, you can. It's a we. And we don't mean holding the weakest link on your back. We mean supporting the strongest person in the relationship. Because they are carrying the heaviest burdens. So when we look at it, our leaders are carrying the world. Just because they look strong, they have the world. So understand, if we now start looking at the strongest people in our relationships and start modeling their behavior, then ultimately we're going to be healthy. We put ourselves in positions to succeed. They're not against us because they're going to be on us without a doubt. But they're not against us. They are allies. So going back to what Drastic was saying about the allies and the quote we put up, yeah, you do get in the back and forth since people do fight unfair. But at the end of the day, allies is what your mentality is. So you can take that direct truth. When they say it, you're not like, well, they're trying to hurt me. No, your friends and your enemies are going to say the same exact thing. Your enemies are doing it to hurt you, your friends are doing it to empower you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know the difference. Mentally, you have to always know the difference between your ally and your friend. You know what I mean? Meaning your enemy. Your enemy's passing you the drink. Your ally is making sure you get home safely. Understand that.
Sometimes you got allies that pretend to be. Sometimes you got enemies that pretend to be allies, and that's why it's important to be careful about who you embrace as an ally. You know what I mean? Take your time and don't move so fast. It's like, you know what I'm saying, when my approach to relationships back in the day was, hookup culture, it's like you didn't take time to get to know this person, and now you're getting to know this person freestyling along the way. Now I'm like, nah, I'm not getting physical with nobody I'm not married to now. You know what I'm saying? So before we get to that place, I'm going to get to know you well. You know what I'm saying? Like who you are as a person, personality, are we on the same path? All of that.
Well, that's why we keep emphasizing these are personal friendships and partnerships we're talking about. We're not talking about associates. We're not talking about people you pass in the street, strangers. We're not talking about your neighbors.
Yeah, we're not talking about coworkers.
Talk to the LoveSnobs. We're talking about people you actually call your friends and people you actually call your partners. So there's no sometimes. Sometimes they just now you gotta think it, are they my friends? Because just saying the word friend is a standard that everybody got to uphold. Just saying partner is a standard that everybody got to uphold. So understand, we're so fearful of ultimatums, but let's be clear here. Everybody's faith is not up for sale. So when you cross that person's faith, yeah, you do got an ultimatum. It's either get on the right side of me or I got to keep it moving. And anybody that's in the right, on going up that steep hill, they're going to have the same understanding because they didn't work hard on who they were and to have great people around them to watch everything fall apart. So you got to always remember that. So like we can go on the 10%, on the 5%. Like there's always times like gray area is a part of life, and that's a guarantee. And that's a whole different discussion. But gray area is not the constant. It's not the constant. It happens sometimes. So we got to start living like that. Gray is not like the pavement is there. You're walking on the pavement. Yeah, you may fall sometimes, but you don't fall all the time. So we got to start looking at the fact that we have the pavement and who we're dealing with and who we call friends and who we call partners are long-term investments for both people to flourish in. Not just me, not just them, but both people to flourish in. So, I mean, it's 10:29. It's been a great discussion. I know Jerry got to do her closing.
Yeah. So, I would like to say this real quick, Drastic. We talked about this in our past discussions that vulnerability is a BS detector. So if you are being yourself, if you know what you want, it's really easy to weed out the nonsense. So that should be like, you're going to meet people that have bad intentions, but not everyone has a bad intention. But anyway, it's 10:30 and whoever didn't share this conversation, share it on Facebook. This is a great discussion. I'd like to thank everyone who joined. We have a new website up, loveisagreatjourney.com. So if anyone's interested, check that out. Thank you for all the new people that joined us today. Thank you, Monique, for being a panelist, and Barry for coming on first time, and all the other people that were on the side. Huh?
Yeah, it's because everybody else is used to being there.
Yeah, yeah. So you held your own. So it's like you've been here before. So welcome. Thank you for all the people that join us every single Monday, and for all the people that didn't get to join us today. You guys were missed, and I guess we'll see you guys next Monday.
Definitely.
All right, guys, it was great.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Don't forget to share. Bye.
Bye.